Welcome back to the pajama party. Welcome back to the pajama party. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey babes, and welcome back, dandelions, to a place to be, the pajama party. So welcome back. I hope that you all are doing well. I hope that you've had a great week thus far. Ow. And I hope that you're enjoying daylight savings time. I am. Fall back is like my favorite daylight saving time because you get that extra hour of sleep. I know. The night comes sooner, and I'm a moon child. I'm a sun child when the Lord wants me to be, but I'm a moon child. So, you know, I don't mind the night, okay? All night long, all night. Anywho's, welcome back, babes. I really hope you've been well. And I hope that as we're rolling around into like the holiday season, you know, that your family's just like all on one accord, that you're making plans to spend time with loved ones, you know, and that your heart is just getting so excited and so full. I don't know. It feels like when it's time for, you know, like November and December to roll around for Thanksgiving and Christmas, you know, like it just feels like the vibe is different. People are more joyful, more kind, you know, more peaceful a lot of times. So really, I hope that truly everything is going well for you. And thank you for joining me tonight for another real Bible story. So please bow your head, close your eyes, open your heart. Let us get ready for the Lord. Heavenly Father, thank you for another chance to sit before your people, Lord, and to share your word. And thank you for filling my heart and my mind, Father. And tonight I ask that you would just lead me and guide me, Lord, that you will fall afresh on me, Lord, and just that you would speak to your children and whatever it is you want to say to them, Father. I ask that you would through me, Lord, that the word that comes from my mouth, Lord, it'll touch somebody's mind and heart, because I just want to help, Father. And I just ask to the person under the sound of my voice that you would bless them, Lord, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, Lord. Any way they need blessings, Lord, I ask that you would just open up heaven, Lord, and let your blessings spring forth. I ask for healing over any broken hearts, over any torn down dreams, Lord, over any confused minds. And even, Lord, if the blessings are financial, hey, sometimes we need it, Lord. So I just ask that your favor will rest upon your children. And Father, I just personally want to thank you for just giving me this opportunity and for helping me to feel better, because today I wasn't feeling the greatest. So thank you for just holding my hand, Lord, and getting me through it, and just for your mercy, Lord, and for you just being who you are in my life. Thank you for being Jesus. And so, Father, all these things that I thought to ask for but didn't, I ask that you would grant me your grace. In Jesus' name I give thanks and pray. Please anoint my mouth, Lord. Please anoint my lips and my hands and my feet. In Jesus' name I give thanks and pray. Glory be to God. Thank God. Amen. Okay, babes. So I want to do things a little bit different tonight. I'm very nervous about this approach. In general, I get very nervous when I start new things or try new things, because I always want to make sure, especially while doing this one, you know, a Pac's perspective, I feel like I could kind of get away with trying things here and there, because that one's a little bit more laid back. But, you know, like this one is for guys, so I always want to make sure, like, you know, I'm putting my best foot forward and that I am showing his light and love in the best ways possible. So bear with me, because I am a little bit nervous. But so tonight's discussion, is called You Are a Light. Now, I kind of feel like for this one, it's gonna come from scripture, yes, but this one is gonna be, I guess, more of a heart talk. We'll see. We'll see. I'm sorry. I told you I'm all over the place. When I do new things, it's hard for me to figure out how to open up with it because I don't know. I'm really nervous, but we're gonna go with it. So we're not nervous. You're right. We are centered. It's okay. We're good. So the first thing I want to read to you guys is Matthew chapter 5 verses 13 through 16. So let me go ahead and get you there. So Jesus is speaking here, and he says, "Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." So I wanted to start with that because that one was, I heard this yesterday, and then it was on my devotional, and it kind of just stuck with me. And so, when this is my interpretation of it. When the Lord, first of all, he calls us, or he says, let our speech be seasoned, with salt. And to me, that just means like, make sure whatever you're saying is tasteful. I always say it is not what you say, it is how you say it. For instance, you could tell a person like, I don't know why you put that shirt with them pants. That is such an ugly look. You need to go home and change it and try it again. Or you could be like, hey, listen, you look handsome today, but I think next time you wear this outfit, maybe try a different shirt to complement those pants. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but you see, like, you can always change how you say something to somebody and make it less offensive, and really you just need to be so careful because the power of life and death truly does lie in your tongue. And a lot of times you can hurt a person or you could break a person without even knowing it if you do not watch what you say. And that is just a known thing. It is one thing to tell somebody you're ugly, and it's another thing to say your makeup's a little mismatched. I don't think that eyeshadow complements that eyeliner. And not even that, I keep trying to, figure out these analogies, or, maybe if somebody is like beating the drums and they're off and you're like, you could be like, you need to stop. You need to just pack it up because you keep getting behind tempo and you're not getting it together. You're not doing good. Or you could be like, maybe you need to tap your foot so that way it'll be easy for you to stay on the beat, and maybe you need to practice this breakdown of this rhythm section right here so that next time we rehearse it, you'll be better. See, like, there's just always different ways that you can say things to people without hurting their heart. And so making sure the things you say are seasoned, to me, it is also important, because this woman was saying this on the morning devotional. Salt is used to preserve meat. And well, back in the day, it was used to preserve meat before they had, like fridges and all the commodities and necessities that we have now. But, we do have to preserve what it is that Jesus has given us, because, and I really want to say this too, you need to, and this is something that I also had to be told and learned. So, this is never me trying to make it seem like I have all the answers, or like I've just walked this walk for so long, so I know. But in this regard, I do know, not everybody is on your level, like spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Some people, they mature faster than others, and some people, it takes them a little bit longer. And, we don't know where people are in their relationships with God. And so when you carry yourself for him, and when you bear his name, and when you go before his children, you really have to pick and choose. First of all, you have to pick and choose your battles, because some people, they will literally want to fight about religion for the sake of fighting for it and about it. And don't entertain that, because we don't have to fight to defend Jesus. And I'm guilty of that. You know, I used to have this professor in school who he would say things like, oh, the archaeologists found that like the Red Sea wasn't really a sea, it was just a little lake, and it just so happened that it dried up when the children of Israel crossed it. And you know, it bothered me, because we are in a Catholic university. I'm a Christian, but to me, like, you're still supposed to be believing, you know, like you're supposed to be believing that God did these miracles, that, you know, he really got these children out of this place. And I'm like, how dare you come? And I felt like he was just wanting to pick a fight with me, because he would always look me in the eyes and tell me specifically, you know, or he was talking to the class, but he'd look at me and be like, Jesus didn't do it. And that always set me off, because who are you to tell me what God did? And how dare you come and try to take away my belief because you didn't believe in it? And I think for anything, that kind of just like, that has been something that I've had to work on and learn how to control. Is, first of all, don't let people shake your belief systems, because it's up to you to choose what you believe at the end of the day. And you can't have such a sensitive logic or faulty logic to change your mind because somebody else said it is so. Like, there is no reason I should have been arguing with my professor or even like giving him the time of day, because like my mom told me, he is still my teacher. Like, I still have to respect him because I'm in his class. But I know what I believe, and I know what I was raised to believe, you know, and I truly believe that it was a seed that he split because he said it in his word. And like, that's just final. Like, you're not going to change my mind about it. I don't care what you say the archaeologists pulled up. If they weren't alive and they weren't there to see it, I don't want to hear about it. Like, you know, but I just say that to say you don't always have to fight to defend Jesus, because Jesus is the one defending you. Like, you don't need to defend his honor. Now, sometimes you do have to tell people like, that is not true. This is who Jesus is, you know, in X, Y, Z. But to just be arguing about it and going back and forth, no. If they don't want to hear it, if they don't want to accept it, then that's fine. You just move on and you go on and live your life and talk to people who will listen and who will see your point of view. You know, like, you should never have to force your point of view about anything to anybody, but especially about God. Just be so careful with shoving him down people's throat, you know, because that, I mean, I feel like in part that's too why a lot of people turn away from following Jesus, because it's crammed in their throat and like, you gotta believe this and you gotta be this way and you gotta see the Lord that way. And instead of just giving people a chance to experience how wonderful God is for himself and to preach the good news that, you know, he is love and he is light. Jesus is our light. Like, the Lord came down here and he did something so great for us, you know, something that nobody else would ever do for us, something that nobody else ever could do for us. And so just be encouraged that even if a lot of people don't want to hear what you have to say about God, or if they want to fight about it, know that it's just, first of all, it's not that person you're fighting. It is that spirit. It is that principality. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and high places. You know, you're gonna encounter spirits that try to test you and get under your skin, but the Lord promised us peace. So don't let anybody take your peace, you know, like, just be calmed. And so that was one thing. Just, you know, don't be too caught up in arguing with people about God, because God knows who he is and he's told us multiple times who he is. And if a person doesn't want to open their eyes and have a relationship with him, then as long as you've done what you can do, the blood is off of your hands, you know. And another thing, I just feel like when we are dealing with people, you know, people watch you. People really do watch you. They may not always say it. And this is something else I've had to experience firsthand. And now I think I'm a little bit more conscious of it. Sometimes, not always, because some people are very good at hiding that they watch you. But, you know, when you could tell, the same ones, it's their characteristics. It's the way they watch you and how they cut their eyes. And, you know, like, Roberta. No, I'm sorry, but you know, just people are always watching. So if you say you believe in God and that you love him, you know, and that, you know, like you're leading this life for him, well, people are watching that, and people are watching how you live your life. So it is just so important that in everything you do, you know, that the Lord goes before you. So that way, like, once again, you're not protecting him, but you're protecting your image, and you're not tarnishing, I guess, what somebody else's perception of him could be. But at the same time, like, yes, that person needs to know God for themselves, you know. But if you are bearing his light, and if you are getting in front of people, and if you are, you know, saying like, oh, I'm for Jesus and da 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 da, and then you're going out and like you're, you know, popping back 224 cases and saying whatever comes to your mouth, then don't do that, you know, because people watch you. And once again, like, not, and even it is even that, like, drinking, whatever you want to do, like, you do that in the confines of your own home or out. I'm not here to say like don't necessarily do that. I don't abuse anything that you do, right? Because at one point it becomes a fact of like you're trying to fill a void, and Jesus is the answer. Like, you're never going to get drunk enough, you're never going to get high enough, like nothing's ever going to fill you like Jesus. And that is something that I can say wholeheartedly and truthfully, because I know I've tried some remedies for that man, and there is nothing like. And when I finally found him, and when I finally got on his page and like let him love me, it was like, it was like something just clicked for me. And you know, now I realize that when I may feel vacant or void, the first person I'm calling out for is Jesus. Like, what happened? Where did I go wrong today? What got me in an uproar? Because I need you, like your love, your strength. What is going on? You know, when I'm upset, when I'm ready to just rage out, then I know, like, I feel vacant because my peace is rattled, and like I have to go back and find God and, you know, hold my hand out for him to take so he can pull me with him. And so, you know, just be encouraged. In life, things are going to happen, and just be gentle with other people, because when you were first starting out this walk with God, you know, you didn't know all the answers. And even now, we don't know all the answers. We truly don't. The Lord, we can't put him in a box, and we can't fit him in anything. You know, he is God. Like, when Moses was like, who do I say it is that sent me? He says, tell him I am that I am. Like, you know, there's nothing for him. Like, the Lord is just, it is so mind-blowing to me, just the depths of the Lord, you know, like he is just so big, and you can't put a label on him, and you can't pin him to just one thing, because he's everywhere and everything, you know. I mean, even the trees cry out, you know, and the plants, and he dressed the birds, the sparrows, you know, like he's made these incredible sea creatures. And I still believe in the Loch Ness monster, you know, but like he's done just so many amazing things in this life, you know. And so don't put him in a box, and don't put other people in a box, because they may not have your knowledge yet of who God is, because we are all growing and we are all walking life at different paces. And so please just try not to judge people, you know, because you wouldn't want nobody judging you. And at the end of the day, we are all still falling short. There is nothing we could do. There is no person on this earth that is righteous like God. There is no person who is without spot or blemish, you know. Even in the Bible, like the most chosen ones still had things that they had to deal with and get over, you know. So just be gentle on people and help them understand who God is, and be patient with them, and be patient with their mindset, you know, because they're not on your level. And what you received above all, it is a gift. It is a gift to know God the way you know him. It is a gift for him to show you himself in ways that other people might not see him yet. Like, it is a gift to be treasured, because not everybody has that, you know. And I always try to seek him and ask for his wisdom. And, you know, I am so grateful that he talks to me the way he does. And I even had to realize last week, like, our bond is special, you know. And I think a lot of times I've gotten caught up into comparing myself to like others people's relationship with God, and because he moved in their life, or because he did this for them, or because he gave them this at a young age, I think a lot of times it made me resent God, if I'm gonna be honest, and think like, well, he must not love me, or like he must not favor me because he didn't do this for me, or like he didn't give me that. But that wasn't true at all. I was labeling him, you know, I wasn't loving him right and seeing who he truly was. And so just be grateful when he comes into your life, man, and really, you know, has a relationship with you, because that's all he desires of us anyway, is to have a relationship. And so to be one with Jesus, and to, you know, just live this life for him, and like to let him be with you on every hand, it is truly, it is amazing. It is the best feeling in the world. There is nothing that can compare to this feeling. There is nothing that can like, I can't even comprehend or like put it in a sentence, the feeling that it gives you, but it's whole, you know, it's calming. Sometimes the Lord will give me peace and I'll be so happy, and I'm looking around and I'm like, you know, the joy that the Lord truly has given me in this past year alone has been joy I've been searching for my whole life, my whole 27 years of living. And you know, there's just, it's nothing like it. If I could compare it to anime, because that's what I said I was gonna do tonight. If I can compare it to anime, it's like watching your favorite character finally get the victory, you know, or, you know, watching them complete this big bad boss fight, you know, and like they're thriving and surviving, and like they're getting it together. That serotonin that you feel, you know, from watching them. That is how I feel watching Jesus, because he is, you know, the main character of my anime, you know, like he is the hero who, you know, goes forth and like he's slaying giants and knocking down, you know, demons and kicking over stuff, and he's just incredible. And so just be encouraged once again to be kind to others, because you never know what somebody's going through. And as his light, it is your responsibility to make sure in everything you do, you are treating people with compassion. You are being gentle on them, because those are the commandments, you know, that we love one another as we love ourselves. And I just think that it is important to show kindness, because you never know who you could be saving that day, or whose life you can be touching just by being kind to them. A lot of people are hurting and feeling alone and feeling like nobody cares about them, and they feel unseen, and they feel frustrated with where they are in life, and they feel like giving up. And I don't know why that makes me want to cry, but it's heartbreaking to think that so many people feel that way, because they just don't know that there are people out there who care for them and who love them. And above all, there is a God who sees them and who loves them. So I am really sitting here to tell you that, you know, if nobody else has told you, I love you. Like, I don't have to see your face, and I don't have to like be in your presence every day. I truly do love you, you know, and I love you for viewing this. I love you for being alive. Like, I love you for fighting for yourself. You know, I love you for going on, even though times have seemed hard and impossible, you know, but you are so strong, and you are such a warrior, and God loves you too. And just remember, in everything you do, you can never earn it. So don't be so hard on yourself. Nothing in this life that we are given, it is not by our good works. It is by God. Now, his grace and his mercy. Now, if you work hard for stuff, yes, like you will be given stuff, you know, hard works pay off, success, you know. But I'm saying, like, as far as being righteous, and like as far as just blessings and stuff, a lot of the times it's not anything we could have ever did. It's God working through us, and it's God opening those doors for us, and it's God blessing us, you know. So don't beat yourself up. Don't feel in a rut. Like, don't feel down, because the Lord's going to take care of you. And if he promised you something, then it's going to come to pass. And I know it can feel so frustrating, and you can feel so heavy laden sometimes when he has said a promise, but it's like, okay, when is the promise? And you know, that's my problem. I'm very impatient. If you tell me something, I want to see it then and there, like right then, right there. Like, even waiting for shows, I'm like, can it be this day already so I can watch this show? You know, patience has been something that the Lord has constantly constantly had to drag me back to and be like, let's revisit this test again. Like, oh, you almost did good, but let's go back. I think you need a little bit more work there, because that's what it's about. Patience. You know, our timing is not God's timing. And so please remember that. If he said it, it's not that it's not going to come to pass, but we don't move on, we move on his time. He doesn't move on our time, you know. So just be encouraged that in anything you're going through, I'm right there with you. Let's thrive and survive together. So that, honestly, that talk kind of carried on a little bit longer than I wanted it to. But I, you know, like I said, this one was kind of going to be a mix of my personal and the Bible tonight. So level 2 and 3 are kind of together, hand in hand. And so I might put the Bible down and talk. And so one thing that I wanted to do is take you to the book of Job and read some of his story with you. I'm not going to read it all. I'm not going to cover it all, but to read some of his story with you, and just to show that, like, even in trials and tribulations, you know, and even coming back to my point, like, you are a light for somebody. Your story, your situation, your testimony, it is a light for somebody to look and see, like, man, I'm not down and counted out. Like, I got this. I can do this. So we're going to start at chapter 1. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared God and eschewed evil. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels and 5,000 yoke of oxen and 500 she-asses, and a very great household, so that this man was the greatest of all the men of the east. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. Thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. And the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear God for naught? Hast not thou made a hedge about him and about his house and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power, only upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. And there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding beside them. And the Sabines fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven, and hath burnt up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away. Yea, and slayed the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And all this Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. Okay. Now, I read that one, and we're going to read, like I say, a couple of more verses in here. And so I want to start with this and just say, first of all, I find it so funny, ironic rather, that Satan would, like, his main purpose is to destroy us. He don't care about us. He just want us to fall and be burning with him, because he knows he's gonna burn. Like, he's that one person that messed up, and they know they messed up, and like they know that there's no going back. So instead of just going on about his business, we all gotta suffer because this man chose to not get it together. Like, he had everything, he had literally everything he could have wanted, and he got too big-headed, and he got too full of himself, and so he fell from heaven, and he committed, of course, sin in his heart. And I just find it ironic that this man is like telling God, like, oh, do you not have a hedge of protection around him? Like, oh, do you not do this and that for him? Because what do you expect? Like, why you beefing with us because you chose to act that way and lose your blessings? Like, it is not our fault. It ain't Job's fault that you was out here being the way you wanted to be. Like, you had a choice to make, and you chose to make that choice and to be kicked out of heaven, And so the Lord is like, listen, buddy old pal, like, you can have power of this situation, but you cannot kill Job. Like, you cannot touch his life, because I got something to show you. And for the Lord to place his bets on you like that, to me, that is so amazing, And so when it says that Job was like perfect and blameless, it doesn't mean that he was literally perfect, but that he walked in all the standings of the Lord. Like, he walked before the Lord. He did what was right in the sight of the Lord. Like, he was blameless before God. He lived a righteous life doing what he could. And I'm pretty sure, like, he probably had moments where, it wasn't so great, but overall he was the Lord's man, And so Job, he's very wealthy, right? He has it all. Like, he has his acre and a mule. Like, he has literally everything that he could have. He has the wealth. And so Satan comes, and he just, in a blink of an eye, takes it all. And so whenever I read Job's story, it kind of reminds me of, like, have you ever had a day where you start off, like, you wake up and you think like, oh man, it's gonna be a great day. Then you hear bad news, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna shake this off and keep going. But then throughout the day, you hear more bad news, and you're like, okay, 2 for 2. Like, let's hope we can just get through this day. And you just end up having a bad day. Like, there seems like there's something on top of something on top of something that is sent to just set you off and rattle your mind. That's what kind of day Job is having. If we can put it in the form of anime. I don't know if you've ever seen the anime Demon Slayer. I know people are going to be like, what? But I don't know if you've ever seen this anime named Demon Slayer. But the premise of this whole story is that these demons are basically out here molly-whopping humans. Okay? And so a lot of times they'll show you these sweet stories, or in any anime, they'll show you these sweet stories, right? Like, everything is going great, then disaster strikes. And it's not like one disaster. It's like it literally continues to get worse after worse. And so one story that I really want to use to compare here, there's this person in Demon Slayer. His name is Mushiro. Yes. Mushiro. He loses his mom and his dad in the same day, right? His dad went to go pick herbs for the mom because she was sick. He has a twin brother. Now it's just him and his twin brother alive. And his twin brother, he got some issues. Like, he's angry. And so Muichiro, he is trying to, like, get it together and keep a hold to like his positivity and like his good nature and stuff like that. But the twin is not having it. So fast forward, this demon ends up coming and like, first of all, he was trying to get Muichiro, but his brother steps in. And so, of course, Muichiro kind of just snaps, right? He is just having a bad day and he's fed up. And so I use that comparison just to show like, sometimes in life, we may have days where we start off great, but there's just the weight of the world crumbling on our shoulders, right? And so I also wanted to point out what I really love about my understanding and my revelation and God speaking to me is when you read Job, it is one of those stories in the Bible where like it talks about like how every disaster is happening to this man, you know, and how he says this thing and he's like, the naked I came into this world, you know, like naked I'll go, the Lord give it and the Lord take it away. Okay, Job did not realize though that God didn't do that to him. And there's even a part in here where one of the dudes are speaking to him and they're like, God sent forth his fire from heaven, you know, and it burnt up your possessions, but it wasn't God who sent the fire. It wasn't God who sent the wind. Like, it wasn't God who brought that destruction. He allowed it to happen, but he did not cause it, and he did not raise his hand to do that against Job. Satan was the one who did that. Like, the Lord gave Satan permission to let calamity, there we go, fall upon Job's head because the Lord wanted to prove a point to Satan, you know. And so Job, he literally has lost everything back to back to back. And instead of complaining, instead of blaming God, well, he didn't blame him. More or less, Job did not know. He did not know and understand God enough to know that it wasn't God who did it. You know, and that's why it says like he sinned not, nor did he charge God foolishly, because he was just saying like the Lord give it and the Lord take it away, which is true, but it wasn't the Lord who was taking, because he doesn't. Well, okay, so it's not really true because the Lord doesn't take from us. The Lord gives. He adds to our life. You know, he replenishes. Now, some people, how do I want to word this? Sometimes he will allow people to be taken out of your life. He will allow certain circumstances or like people or things will walk away, things that you didn't need, you know, like he will close doors that, you know, should not be open for you, but that's to protect you or to make you better or to add to you. It's not simply just to take away from you. It is not to hinder you. So just always remember, like, the Lord is not the one who causes calamity upon your head. The Lord is not the one who is gonna punish you, you know, or and I even when I came back from Korea, I was guilty of feeling like the Lord took that away from me because I was bragging and talking about, oh, I'm gonna be in Korea, but he didn't take that from me, and being like, you know, I'm gonna protect you and I'm gonna keep you. It was just my logics, what I thought, you know, and how I thought of God, that I assumed that he was the one who took from me, but he wasn't, because the Lord, he doesn't do that. Like, he's ever so giving, and he wouldn't have gave Jesus, you know, like he wouldn't have gave him that if he wasn't gonna give you everything in your life, because he gave himself. Like, he came down in Jesus, you know, and died for you. So please don't ever feel like the Lord is the one taking from you or the Lord is the one causing things to happen to you, because that's not him. He's gentle and he's loving, and believe it or not, like, he is rooting for you. He is your biggest supporter, and he wants you to have great things in this life. And a lot of times when trials and tribulations come upon us, you know, just like Tanjiro, you know, he had to get stronger in order to protect Nezuko, you know, or like Naruto, you know, he had to go through periods of his life where it was really hard, you know, training was really brutal, but he had to become the strongest. And that is just what you're on a journey to do. You're on a journey to become strong. You're on your journey to become your best self. You're on your journey to learn your Father, to let him love on you, to let him be your guiding light, and to be his light to the world, and to show his unfailing mercy and his unfailing grace to people around you. So be encouraged, even though you may be facing trials and and tribulations and things that seem like they're about to take you out, know that it's not going to throw you under. You got this. Like, you're doing so much better than you think. Okay. So going on. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan came also among them to present himself before the Lord. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil, and still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all that a man hath he will give up for his life. But put forth thine hand now and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still remain thine integrity? Okay. Dost thou still retain thy integrity? Curse God and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. Now when Job's 3 friends heard of all this evil that were come upon him, they came every one from his own place. Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite. For they had made an appointment together to come and to mourn with him and to comfort him. And when they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they lifted up their voice and wept. And they rent every one his mantle and sprinkled dust upon their heads toward heaven. So they sat down with him upon the ground 7 days and 7 nights, and none spake a word unto him, for they saw his grief was very great. Okay, so, oh my goodness. Okay, so Satan, first of all, I find it funny too that he literally has nothing to do but cause destruction. Like, you know, and the fact that he's still reporting to God, you know, like he is still popping up and like, hey, don't forget about me over here. Like, really? And I think I'm a little bit in a state of like mind blownness that even though he was kicked from heaven, like he still searches for the Lord. Like, you know, he still goes to be in his presence because, I mean, it's King Jesus. But anyways, so Satan is before the Lord again and before all the sons of God. And the Lord is like, what is it now? What are you doing? What are you up to today? As if he didn't know. So Satan was like, you know, back on the prowl. You know, I'm back going to and from. So once again, if we gonna put this in the anime, I'm so sorry if you've never watched like any of the animes I'm talking about. And I really hope that I'm not spoiling this for any of y'all, but I'm gonna just put a spoiler warning in here. So, because I feel like this is helping somebody. I don't know. I felt led to do this, so I'm gonna do it. So, basically, Job, I'm not Job. Let me see. Okay, so you know how like in Demon Slayer, you know what I'm saying? All of the demons, they report to Muzan, right? Well, okay, I'm not calling the Lord a demon here, but I'm saying like Satan went to go report to him, like in those scenes where they go report to Muzan, or like in any, you know, if you've watched the 7 deadly sins, you know, like the lords that sit up there and like their servants come and report to them. Maybe that's a better, then that's what's happening here. And so the Lord is like, what about Job, Satan? What about Job? Like, I saw what happened out there, and Job is still one of those. Like, what happened, you know? And Job, he did not fail. He showed the Lord approved. Like, you know, Job and the Lord got the victory. 1-0 right there. And so Satan is still out here like, nah, it ain't even like that. See, what had happened was if you would touch his flesh like you told me yesterday that I couldn't do, then he'd be out of there. So the Lord is like, he is in your hands, but you cannot take his life. So Satan strikes him with disease. Sometimes in life, we get sicknesses and diseases. Once again, that is not God. That is the work of the enemy. You know, so please do not feel like because you may be sick or like you may have afflictions in your body that the Lord did it, because he didn't. If anything, like the Lord came to reverse all those curses and to, you know, take this thing out of death and to right every wrong concerning his children who may be sick, who may be afflicted, who may be down and out. And so Job now has sores on him from the crown of his feet to the top of his head, soles of his feet to the crown of his head. And so Job's wife is like, you need to curse God and die. Like, I don't know why you're so self-righteous. And lady, but so Job is like, no, because no, he's like, if God gives us great things, you know, like, you don't expect us not to have evil things come up on us too. And I mean, you know, to me, that is just a very, not to say that God does it, but that is a resounding truth. In life, we have blessings. We have periods of blessings. We have periods of greatness. But in life, we also have troubles. We also have trials. We also have tests. You know, like we have seasons where we're up and we have seasons when we're down. But through them all, like the Lord is ever present and he is ever being protectful of us. And so now Satan is trying to like get Job out of there again. And so Job's friends, they hear about what's happening to him. And they come and they sit with him. And they're basically trying to, well, they're trying to give him comfort. But they see how upset he is. So they don't say anything for a full week. And to me, that is very, that has to be a friendship, right? For you to go and sit with a person for an allotted amount of time and just be with them and grieve with them, you know, and mourn with them. It is very good to have a friend. It is very good to have a person who is in your corner and who loves on you. Like, we were not created to be alone. Like, you need people. And so please, if you have a person in your life who is going to take up the time with you to be a friend, don't cast them away and don't discredit them, because a friend is a hard thing to find. To find a person who is genuine about you and who really wants to like have your best interest at heart, those people are to be treasured. So please treasure your friends. Okay, so I I skipped around and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna skip a few chapters. I feel like you should read Job because there are a lot of points to be made in Job, and it is a very eye-opening book of the Bible to read. And I'm gonna read a couple of more things in here and, you know, move on. And so Job's friends, to give a breakdown, Job's friends, they finally speak to him, right? And a couple of them are trying to figure out like why Job is still so faithful to God. And like some of them, or a few of the conversations, some of them, his friends are either trying to say like Job did something wrong, or like the favor of the Lord is not upon Job. You know, like they're trying to pick him and basically see where he went wrong in life for all this calamity to fall upon his head. And so Job is defending himself and defending God. But it gets to a point where Job kind of becomes like high and mighty. So he has to be humbled a little bit for like his pride, you know, like for everything he is saying. And so there's a debate happening, all right? And like people are watching the debate and like you should just read it because there's so much that goes back before them. And like Job is getting annoyed, he's getting vexed by his friends because they keep questioning him, and you know, and I think that starts to rattle him and rattle his mind because he has gone through all this grief. And instead of his friends just continuing to be silent and to calm down, they are asking this man questions and like throwing accusations at him left and right, you know. And Job is like, I'm just trying to get it together out here. And so now God is about to speak, and I start giggling because I have a few moments where God will say something and I'm just like, ooh, you know, like it makes me tremble a little bit and it makes me just be like, man. And so here we're going to see this. So it says, this is chapter 38, Job chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now thy loins like a man, for I will demand of thee, and answer thou me. Woo! Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding. Who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth as if it had issued out of the womb? When I made the cloud and the garment thereof, and the thick darkness a swaddling band for it, and break up for it my decreed place, and set bars and doors, and said, hitherto shalt thou come, but no further, and here shalt thy proud ways be stayed. Hast thou commanded the morning since thy days, and caused the dayspring to know his place, that it might take a hold of the ends of the earth, that the wicked might be shaken out of it? It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. And from the wicked their light is withholden, and the high arm shall be broken. Hast thou entered into the spring of the sea, or hast thou walked in the search of the depth? Have the gates of death been opened unto thee, or hast thou seen the doors of the shadow of death? Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare if thou knowest all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldest take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldest know the paths to the house thereof. Knowest thou it because thou was then born, or because the number of thy days is great? Hast thou entered into the treasures of the snow, or hast thou seen the treasures of the hail, which I have reserved against the time of trouble, against the day of battle and war? By what way is the light parted, which scattered the east wind upon the earth? Who hath divided a water course for the overflowing of waters, or a way for the lightning of thunder, to cause it to rain on the earth when no man is on the wilderness, wherein there is no man, to satisfy the desolate waste ground, and cause the bud of the tender herb to spring forth? Hath the rain a father, or who hath begotten the drops of dews? Out of whose womb came the ice, and the hoary frost of heaven? Who hath gendered it? The waters are hid as with a stone, and the face of the deep is frozen. Canst thou bind the sweet influence of the Pleiades, or loose the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Arcticus with his sons? Knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may cover thee? Can thou send lightnings, that they may go and say unto thee, Here we are? Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who can number the clouds in wisdom? Or who can say the bottles of heaven? Who can stay the bottles of heaven? When the dust groweth into hardness, and the clothes cleave fast together, wilt thou hunt thy prey for the lion, or fill the appetite of the young lions? When they couch in their dens, and abide in the covert to lie in wait, who provided for the raven his food? When his young ones cry unto God, they wonder for lack of meat. Okay, so there's one more part that I will read. I'm sorry, y'all. The Lord be. And I promise, sometimes I feel like I be arguing with God like this, and he be shutting my mouth too, and I'm just like, take it away, Father, because you are absolutely right. So, chapter 40. Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once I have spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee and declare thou unto me. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me that thou mayest be righteous? Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. So 42. Okay, we're here. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me which I knew not. Here I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. I have heard of thee by hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. So Job, okay, so Job ends up going back and forth with God because the Lord is like, all right, enough is enough, Job. And so when God tells Job to like gird up thy loins like a man, the Lord, when he be addressing people, like when he come for you and give you attitude back to him, it is so funny because the smoke, like the Lord is unmatched in every area. Like the sass is sassing. I love it. He is like the Hokage. Like you will not disrespect me. And so the Lord is like, because I know I read a lot. Okay. I know I filled you in with a lot. But the Lord is like, Job, who are you to question me? Like, you know, did you make the heavens and the earth? Did you give breath to these beings? Like, what did you do, Job? Do you know me? Do you know how I think? Like, are you going to tell me how to do my job? Like, are you going to sit here and curse my name? Like, this is what's about to happen between us? And Job is like, listen, no. Job was like, I spoke once and got it wrong. Okay, we went back again the second time and I don't want to say nothing else. And the Lord's like, nah, you're going to speak because you were speaking amongst these people like you had the answer. So now I want you to speak to me and tell me how you truly feel about me, which, Lord, I'm telling you, man, to think about the Lord coming from me. And like I said, I can be honest and admit, sometimes I've had some conversations with God and he's like, but who are you? Not like that, but you know. Okay. All right. Sometimes it is just more or less, I really don't want you to take that and be like, oh, the Lord. But sometimes I feel like when we talk to God and we demand things of him, he does have to remind us like who is in charge, and like he does have to correct us. And I don't think that he means for it to be harsh or in a way, but you know, like corrections, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you when he corrects your thinking or your mindset, you know. And I think I've said this on here before, but sometimes the Lord will question your actions. Like he will call you out and have a conversation with you about what you thought and why you thought it was okay to think that way. But never think that like the Lord doesn't love you, because the Lord loved Job. And there was not one time where he didn't love Job, but he just wanted to know, Job, who do you think you are? You know, like, have you done my job? Have you lived this long? And I think too, it was really the Lord reminding Job, like, I am in control. I am in charge. Like, I formed the earth. Like, I take care of the beings. Like, I can do these magical great things that your mind can't even process. You know, like, I am the beginning, I am the end. Nothing passes through me. Like, everything comes by me. You know, and like I said, Job had forgot that. You know, in the midst of him being so caught up in like what he was going through and what he was feeling and what he was seeing with his natural eye around him, I really feel like he did just become a little prideful and forget who God was and who he worships in spirit and in truth. And so there's even a part, in here where after the Lord is done, I say reading Job his rights, but I really, please do not take away from this that the Lord is out here just reading people their rights, okay? Because, hey, he will, now, be frank, don't think that he's just always he's gonna be gentle and love on you, but sometimes he is gonna tell you some things and it's gonna be like, well, shut my mouth then, Lord. But he was telling Job's friends, like, it says in chapter 42, verses 7. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Elizaphat the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has. Therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering. And my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, and that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So see, these people were trying to convince Job that like he was the one in the wrong, and like, you know, they were misjudging God too, and they were saying things really out the side of their neck. And that's why I say Job had to get rattled and fed up, because they are literally sitting here going left field with this man. And so the Lord is like, absolutely not. You gonna go to the same person you was talking down on, and you gonna right this wrong. Because Job, I love Job. We are here. Like, Job is gonna be the one I listen to. He's gonna pray for you because you were not doing right. Like, you did not speak to me right like Job have. And so Job, he was out here with his own notions too and his own ideologies. But I think that Job, he was realizing and understanding, like, I viewed the Lord so wrong. I viewed everything about him wrong. Like, my relationship with him, like, he wasn't, after the Lord had to humble him and remind him, like, you being a little haughty, Job saw it for himself, like, oh man, I was big wrong. Like, I was big wrong. And once again, you're gonna have moments in life where sometimes I feel like you will encounter areas where you misjudge God and you think that you know better than him, and it's not true. You know, it's not true, and you're going to think you have him figured out, which is not true. You know, and sometimes we do get prideful. If we're not careful, we can get very prideful, and we can, you know, puff our chest out and think that like we're the bomb.com, and the Lord has to remind us, like, baby, what is you doing? Because are you the Lord? Did you make the heavens and the earth? I don't think so, bucko. And so, you know, it's kind of like, what anime can I, what can I use? It's like when Sasuke was out here thinking he was Itachi, and Itachi was like, little man, what are you doing? I'm telling y'all, I know, I'm trying to get it together, but you know, like, Sasuke was out here trying to be like Itachi. Not saying that Itachi is God, but, you know, roll with me here, walk with me for a second. Itachi had wiped out this whole clan. Sasuke wanted revenge because for him, Itachi literally did what Satan did to Job. He took away everything from him. So Sasuke is trying to get power and like trying to get stronger and like get it together, and he keeps going after Itachi, and he is just not ready, and he really does not understand truly what happened and what's going on behind the scenes. And so when everything is revealed and he finally sees it for what he was, Sasuke cries. So do we. I cried. I cried a lot behind that, actually. But you know, Sasuke is crying because he sees the truth now, and he sees that he misjudged Itachi in that whole situation for what it was. Sometimes we are like that with God. We don't always understand why things happen and what the purpose for them was. And because we get heartbroken and because our dreams or what we thought we should have had is not given to us, we get downcast, we get angry, we get upset with God, and we be like, why you didn't do this for me? And why you didn't give this to me? And why did you let that happen to me? Like, do you not love me? And the Lord is like, excuse me? Like, excuse me, like, I came on the cross for you and you don't think I love you? Like, I shed my blood for you and you don't think I care about you? Like, you don't think I want what's best for you? It is not true. Like, the Lord loves you. There is nobody on this earth, there is nobody in this universe, in this thing that we know about called the world, the earth, the galaxies. There is no person, being, anything that loves you more than God. God loves you. He is the only man, spirit, who's came down here in the form of a man and given his life for you. He did not know any sin, and he took on all of our sins like that because he loved us that much that he wanted a relationship and a connection with us. So please, like, I think if you read Job, really, you can see, like, and that's kind of what I want to say. When we go through situations and we do get frustrated and burnt out, and when we do look at, like, our natural surroundings and see what's going on, yes, it can be very overwhelming and very perplexing and put you in a state of like, oh my God. But you have to remember to look again. You need to remember to look towards God, because you're not going to always understand why he did something. And he's not going to always tell you, because and this sounds harsh to say, but it's true. He doesn't owe you an explanation for anything. It is by his grace and his mercy for you that he even reveals himself to you. Once again, this is coming from a girl who has to have had that revelation. How many times? How many times have I had to have this conversation with Jesus? Like, I don't owe you anything, but I'm giving it to you because I love you. And I do want you to know my secrets and my truths about me and who I am. So don't ever feel like, that if God doesn't always reveal things to you, it's because he doesn't love you. He does give us revelation, and he gives us, and I'm gonna have to find this scripture, but the things that are for us, he tells us. But there are some things that are just for him. And I do truly believe, like, even if you knew it all, what was that gonna change? Even if you knew every single thing. Because let me tell you, when I finally got answers about Korea a whole year later, I was like, what? Because if I would have known it in that moment when I wanted to know it, I wouldn't have been ready to handle what the Lord has revealed to me. In every season, I can truthfully say, if the Lord would have told me right then and there why this was happening or what I was going through, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it. I wouldn't have been able to handle it. I probably would have cried and, like, dug myself in a heap of ashes and a hole, okay? And just been like, please, nobody bother me. And then the Lord would have been like, Jonah, get up, because you're doing too much right now. So just be encouraged, man. Like, the Lord, he sees you and he loves you. And I know I'm trying to make this a little humorous, because I really don't want you feeling like you're just going to argue with God, or like y'all are going to go back and forth. Sometimes he does have to correct our knowledge. But please remember, like, the Lord is gentle, okay? The Lord is gentle, and, like, he does not get angry with you. And, like, even here, I don't believe he was angry with Job. I just believe that he was like, nah, you're going to answer me because you've been out here talking all this smack. So now I want you to answer me. Like, I want you to be a man. Like, you was out here with your friends, and I want you to address me and tell me, like, who it is you think I am and who it is you think you are. So, just remember, like, the Lord doesn't get mad at you, okay? I will say, with that being said, I know in here his wrath was kindled against Eliphaz, but you gotta also remember, this was in the Old Testament. For one, this was in the Old Testament, okay? things have changed. And I don't think it was necessarily at them. It was at their ideologies, you know, and what they said and how they conducted themselves. Because he never said like, I'm angry at you because you're you. He said, my wrath is kindled against you because you didn't answer me like Job answered me. So it was because they had these bad notions about him, and like they were out here being foolish, you know, and not really thinking about before they spoke. And that is what upset God, you know, not them, but like what they said and how they conducted themselves. That is what kindled his wrath. And so, you know, just always remember, like when you read the Bible, sometimes wording like that can throw you off. You'd be like, man, God was mad at these people, but it was how they were acting, you know, and like their personalities and stuff like that. So just be mindful of that. Like the Lord, he does not hate us. Now, he may not agree with everything we do, and sometimes we do have to repent and like get it together, but he'll never hate you. Like he will never hate you. That's never gonna happen because he died for you. He loves you and he sees you. And I know all the time I'm not so good with explaining stuff, and so I really hope I did not confuse you. And you know, I really try to say things in a way that can help shape your mind and like help you see God in a different way. But just know, like, God was not mad at them as a person. I believe he was mad at their actions and what they said when they answered, you know, because like Job said, there's no thought that is hidden from the Lord. And even the Lord himself said, I judge man based on his heart, on the inward parts of him. And it was their hearts that was wrong. And that's why his wrath was kindled against them. Okay, so so next I got a few helpful scriptures that I want to read to you that I feel like will really help you out along the way. So the first one is Matthew 22 verses 39. Let me get there. We're going to start back at 37. Matthew 22:37. Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Philippians 2 and 3. So this is Paul writing to the Philippian church. And so, okay. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. I'm gonna wrap this all up. Be patient with me. Okay, Hebrews 3 and 13. But exhort one another daily, while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. Okay, Luke 6 and 31. Jesus is speaking. And as ye would that men should do unto you, do ye also to them likewise. And the last one is 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. So now Paul is writing to the church in Corinth. There hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. Okay, I chose these sort of scriptures because one of them, Hebrews 3:13, you know, and really all of these scriptures in general is saying, first of all, love people and treat people how you want to be treated. You can't be out here being mean to people and expect them to be nice and kind to you. Or you can't go and like flip this one person off and then be mad when a random stranger does the same thing to you. Like, you look at how you just treated this person and now you're getting offended because somebody is treating you unkind. Like, and even when you are kind and like, you know, people are giving you the that doesn't mean you turn around and you be unkind to them. You should always be kind and put your best foot forward. And, you know, each day when you see a friend going through something, or even somebody that you may not know, encourage them, reach out, talk to them, and remind them, like, You can do this. You got this. Like, the Lord is faithful. He is there with you. He is helping you. Like, he is not going to let you go through any situation where you don't have an escape route or plan. The Lord is always with you, strengthening you, encouraging you, and fighting for you, fighting on your behalf. So just please, please, please be reassured and be encouraged knowing that the Lord goes before you and he loves you, man. And like, you are not the only one on earth right now who is going through your situation. You feel like it. I know you feel like it. You feel like you're the only one who's dealing with this and nobody got it as bad as you got it right now. And oh, woe is me, because we all love to believe that we are suffering the greatest tragedy known to mankind. But no, it can always be so much worse. We saw from Job firsthand. He lost literally everything but his nagging wife and nagging friends, okay? This man was going through the ringer, all right? And sometimes in life that can happen. People right now, they're having their houses burnt down and they don't even know why, you know? People right now are losing jobs, getting laid off, and they don't know how they're going to pay their bills. There are people sleeping under bridges right now. There are people, you know, trying to figure out how they're going to eat, how they're going to do this, how they're going to do that. There's people who don't even know where their loved ones are. So much is going on in this world, and it can be so easy for us to think in our little circle that we have it the worst. But it is not a pity party out here, okay? And it is not a who has it the worst competition. Be grateful for what you're going through, because in going through this, you should know that there is an end to it. There is an end to it. The Lord is going to bless you. He's going to make a way, even when you don't see how, even when you don't know how. Like, know that the Lord is going to make a way. I have come to a point in my life where sometimes I do still try to like be like Job and question God. But for the most part, I've learned to just let it go. I'm not going to understand everything that man does. And at this point, I'm just tired of trying to understand. You know, I just want him to hold my hand and be with me. Even sometimes when I feel frustrated. And, you know, last week, really quickly to share this, because this is a long one. But I had to give up something that I really didn't want to. That I didn't want to give up. Because I thought that the Lord had called me to do this. And it was not that he didn't call me to do this. But let's just say that it was shown to me that there was harm there in that particular spot where I was. And so when it boiled down to it, it was just better for me to step away from it. And I didn't want to. I cried about it. I was upset because I'm like, dang, God, like I really thought, it would come like this. And I really thought that this was the way, you know, the truth. I just knew that this was the answer you were going to give me. And so when it was not the answer that I was expecting from God, I was a little hurt. I was a little hurt because I felt like, you know, once again, I'm back in this season where I literally don't have, I feel like I have more questions than answers. And the only answer that I know and that I'm holding on to and that calms me down is all of his promises are yes and amen. And so by me submitting to him and by me telling him daily and constantly, like, I want to trust you, I want to be better at trusting you, you know, and I sing these songs like, you refine the refiner. Well, I mean, if you're going to say that, then you got to be ready to go through the situation. And I was even talking to my grandma and mom, and I was telling them, like, you know, the Lord came to me in one of my dreams and told me that this season was going to be, or the things in my life, I was going to have moments where I dealt with hardships. And I don't know why, but in my mind, because one dream I had was like, oh, my grandma told me like, oh, the devil's not going to be able to bother you that much. I literally took that as like he was about to back off of me. He was just going to go and terrorize somebody else, like that this was my moment of reprieve. And they were like, no. Like, no, you still gotta fight like the rest of us. And we are not fighting, friends. The Lord is fighting our battles. But, you know, count it well when you go through trials and tribulations, because, you know, that's where God, he shows up and he really shows you like that he got your best interest in heart, you know, and that he's gonna make a way for you. And, you know, that's probably when he speaks the most to you and, you know, just really reassures you that like his hand is in it. As I quickly draw this to a close, your 4 bullet points is 1, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, even when you're trying to like restore or start your relationship with God. You know, sometimes we slip up, okay? But that does not mean that that man is mad at you and that like he's gonna go away from you because you know, you sinned or you did something wrong. And what I love, I heard this pastor say this Sunday and I was like, you're right. So it has been told to me like God turns his face away from sin, and like if you sin, he's not going to be there with you, which has kind of just like rattled my mind, because I remember a lot of times one main thought I would have is like, what would you do if the Lord came back right now? So that lets me know that he was there watching in that moment. And we're not going to even get into that one. But, you know, too, this pastor was saying how when Adam sinned, when him and his wife sinned, he went and looked for them immediately. He didn't leave Adam alone. Like, you're never alone. God is always with you. He is always with you. He is always with you. Even when you feel like he is not, or like you just screwed up so bad, that's literally just the enemy trying to make you feel like God is not with you. And once you repent, once you change your mind about it and you ask the Lord for forgiveness, it is well. He doesn't remember your past anymore. He doesn't remember your sins. Like, it is blotted out and it is forgiven. You know, like, you are saved under the blood. Now, that don't mean you should be out here trying to keep doing the same sin over and over, because baby, it's not worth it, okay? And like, you can bring stuff worse up on your head by continuing to dibble and dabble in the same things. But just know, like, one day you'll get it right. You know, like, you're on this journey with the Father and he's gonna hold your hand all the way through. Once again, we all go through days and we all mess up daily. You know, even if it's unintentional, we are bound to mess up because we are not perfect beings. Number 2, remember, you are a light. You are a light for someone, you know. And I have had periods of my life where this has always been what I wanted to do, you know, which is why I can ramble for as long as I have. And Lord, I can't even believe that I am rambling this long and I'm sitting here thinking, who is going to watch all of this? But, you know, I have had moments in my life where I haven't always felt qualified to be, you know, up here talking to you guys and just speaking my heart out like this. And, you know, I used to always tell God, like, this is what I want to do. I want to be on stage talking to people like this. And, you know, I really want to be, you know, loving on people and encouraging people this way. And I've always wanted to be told, and people literally have told me, like, you're such a light, you're so positive, and you're literal sunshine. Like, things I've always wanted to be told. And because I had bad seasons in my life, it has been so hard for me to believe that I am my Father's light. But you are, baby girl, you are, baby boy, you are the Lord's light. You are his precious gem. You are his everything. So remember, like, your story is a testimony for someone. So don't discredit your small beginnings, and don't beat yourself up. Everything you're going through, it is worth something. Number 3, trials and tribulations is to make us strong. Just like in anime. All your favorite anime characters, Gojo, he had a lot of trials and tribulations, okay? Season 2 is taking us both through trials and tribulations. Hallelujah. But really, you know, when you think about like your favorite anime characters, and which is why I use them, because I want to relate to people. You know, I've never really watched Dragon Ball Z, so I don't want to put those characters in there. But, you know, like I said, Naruto, he faced a lot. He had to go through a lot to be his best self and to get the strength that he had, you know. Asta and Yuno, you know, and Black Clover, they had to overcome so much, especially Asta, because that boy trying to get it together, okay, it was just a thing. But, you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, even what's her name? Mitsuri is the girl, and Mauricio is the boy. But Mitsuri, you know, she had to overcome, you know, her obsession with the fact that her hair was pink and green and that she was strong. But once she realized who she was and her true strength, this girl is out here molly-whopping demons. Like, that's where we all strive to be. So just remember, like, get stronger and to get where you truly want to be in life, you got to go through things. Because if you don't go through things, how can you witness and tell other people about the grace and mercy of God? And how can you have wisdom? And how can you truly know what it is to, be tried and be on the other side of better? How will you know what better is unless you go through worse? Okay, last one. No matter what, God will, no matter what, God wrote your story, so you narrate it. And that just means don't let other people tell your story. You tell your story the way you want to tell your story, because it's your story. God is the author. He is the penman of your life. And now that he has told you how it is and how it will be, it is up to you to decide how to put that plan in motion. Don't let people stop you or hinder you, telling you about what you can and can't do and what you can and can't be, because they don't know. They weren't there. Like God told Job, were you here when I created the beginnings of this earth? They were not there. They didn't sit in the garden with God when he made you. Like he didn't lean over and say, you think I should give her a dimple right here and a freckle over there? You know, you think I should make her hair purple and make her eyebrows pink? He didn't ask nobody about you. He made you how he saw fit to make you. So if it is not coming from the Lord, don't let other people's opinions of you sway you. You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. As long as the Lord goes before you and as long as he is your guiding light, just remember, like, you are good on all fronts. So that is all, gang. This was such a long episode. I'm so sorry. I did not expect it to turn into such a pour out of things. I honestly can't believe I've talked this long. Like, I know I've had some long moments, but but you know, I really wanted to give you what the Lord had given me. And like I say, I really wanted to focus on Job's story because I feel like that is, and I've been guilty of it too, the way I've read his story and looked at it, it was so wrong. And even Job himself, you know, repented and said, you know, I misjudged God for everything, and now I see truly like who he is, and that I can't comprehend the magnitude of him, and that it's not him who did this. And the Lord was like, now we getting somewhere, Job. Now we great. And you know, if you have not read Job, ending is the Lord restores everything plus some to Job. Like, he gives everything back, and he gives it back hands down, pressed down, shaken together, wonderfully made for this man. Like, he really just, he blesses him, you know, and he rights every wrong concerning him and what happened to him. And Satan lost the challenge. The Lord, he knew what he was talking about when he put his bets on Job. So if he bets on you, know that it's because he knows what you're capable of. And so don't let nobody tell you what you can't do. And if the enemy is fighting you, it's because, once again, the Lord has placed his bets on you, and the enemy knows. The enemy knows when you get to where you're going, you're gonna be unstoppable, babe. So please kiss me with that like button. Anything you would like to comment or talk about below, please let me know. I really don't even know what question to ask y'all. I guess I know I talked about anime here, but you know, I guess if you have any questions or any concerns, or if you have maybe any stories you want to share and say, well, where was God in this, you know, or, you know, if you feel like you can't see God in this season, or if you need clarification or understanding in a part and you would just like to talk about it, talk to me. I'll talk back to you. I'll give you my best advice and opinions. And like I always say, anything I don't know, I will go to my pastors, you know. Lord, first I should be praying to you. Yes, you are right. But like, if it's a passage in the Bible that I may not understand, I will go and ask somebody about it. And my lovely parents have this study Bible that I also use. I've just started using this thing, but you know, I can go there and get answers. So please feel free to talk to me about whatever it is that you want to talk to me about. I am here to listen to you. As always, this is a safe space, and you can always say what it is that's on your mind and on your heart, and never feel like, you know, you'll be judged or ostracized, because I'm not here to judge you, and nobody else can judge you, because we are all dealing with our own messes. So please subscribe, hit the bell for post notification. Go check out my other podcasts. Go check out my Facebook content. Y todo. But babes, my dandelions, as always, please remember above all else that the Lord does love and bless you. May he keep you. I love you, and I hope wherever you are, you're having an incredible day or an amazing night. Thank you for listening in on the podcast. Goodbye, guys.